Welcome to Association Chat, your go-to podcast for insights and stories from the association industry. I'm your host, Kiki L'Italienne, and today we are answering your questions about some big news that started rocketing through the association industry last week when it was announced that Higher Logic was bringing back two individuals who made up part of what some have called the Dream Team at Higher Logic. Yes, they've gotten the band back together. So today, Association Chat is sitting down with Rob Wenger, co-founder and CEO, along with Mark Lowry and Conor Sibley, now serving as Chief Revenue Officer and Chief Technology Officer, respectively. And before we dive in, before I bring them up and start talking to them about this change and this evolution and this new story, I want to remind everyone that you may have seen it out there. Association Chat has a new Facebook group. It is a new day, a new era. And Association Chat has a new Facebook group that's now open. Everyone's starting to jump over there. If you want to jump over there and check it out, you can look for that. Association Chat. It's a Facebook group. Association Chat 2. You can also sign up for the newsletter over at associationchat.com. And if you're listening to this as a podcast, of course, we want you to subscribe, to share, to like, to give us a review. I mean, hopefully, if you really like it, that's what you're doing anyway. But it's a great opportunity for you to do that. And with all of that promotion out of the way, let's talk about the stuff that's really, really exciting and bring these people up to the screen. Welcome.
Thanks.
All right. I'm so glad that you guys could be here. Like, I mean, this has been something that it started buzzing. I started seeing texts about it, receiving messages about it. Last week, I had to go to the website, and you were so thoughtful in being able to have a press release right up there so I could read and say, oh my gosh, it's not just hearsay. Here's the proof. This is what's happening. So let's get into it. I mean, and I'll start with you, Rob. You know, it was big news when you came back as CEO. That was already big news. When did you start thinking about this move, and what inspired you to say, you know what, Mark, Conor, let's bring the band back together? How do you envision their roles impacting your new strategic direction? Give me all the details. I want to know.
Well, obviously, I wanted to work with these guys again, you know, at any point. So Conor and I had been doing stuff together anyway with this other company, Cloud Generation, that we made. So we were already working together a lot. I spent a little bit of time in Association Analytics, where both of them most recently were. And yeah, I mean, just, you know, love working with these guys for whatever it was, 12 years in the previous incarnation of my role at Higher Logic, and always wanted to get the band back together. I don't love that phrase, only because it's more like adding them back into a great band that's already doing well. But yeah, I mean, obviously Conor, rock star technologist, Mark, superstar salesperson. I mean, I couldn't ask for better partners in what we're going to be doing going forward. So yeah, super exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something where I think that it shook people up, because each one of you are all known, really well known in the industry. And so this idea of anytime any one of you is going to make a move, people are paying attention. This obviously was like, okay, what's happening here? And the idea that, I don't know, the idea that you're all coming back together, it makes us think, all right, so what is that vision? And I have to say, Conor, last time I saw you, you were speaking in DC at this association. Actually, last time I saw Mark too, is that you were speaking at the Association AI Day that I Association Chat, co-hosted with Generative Buzz and Association Trends. And I have to imagine that you're thinking AI might play into some of this work in the future. I don't know. Crazy idea, I know. But does that have anything to do with it? What are you thinking about as far as your plans moving forward?
100%. So AI is, I always like to think of AI as an engine, and that engine without fuel just sits there and looks pretty, right? And it's pretty useless. Some of the best fuel that you can potentially have is the fuel that comes from, community data, right? So this non-structured text.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine the kind of like value that's sitting there? And I mean, this is the kind of stuff that Rob and I have been talking about for a long time. Is that it's kind of like your fracking, right? I don't know where your perspective is on fracking, but fracking basically took this incredible resource, this incredible natural resource, and just made it so that people could end up utilizing it. I think AI, the generative AI recently will enable us to utilize this incredible non-structured data. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Rob's been putting together some really cool stuff related to a roadmap, and after we started having some deep conversations about what could we do, it was like, man, what can't we do?
I mean, that is the fun thing. I have to admit, I was sitting and talking with some other association podcasters last week. Said I would love to just be sitting at the same table when they're having these discussions. I'm just trying to imagine some of the ideas that are flowing. And so, Mark, I didn't mean to leave you out, and getting to you last but not least, right? Looking at the sales strategy and customer engagement, and what are you thinking about doing moving forward now versus maybe what you were doing before? I'm sure you're somebody that's always interested in growth, and personally, and then also looking at an organization and figuring out how it grows. What's kind of your thought on how you're looking at moving forward?
Yeah, I think one of the things we want to bring back with our experience is also just knowing associations and what they really want is more solutions that get them to their end goals versus software.
Yeah.
So how do we take advantage of all the data that they already have and make it useful to them and automate it so they don't have to worry about trying to do it themselves? They have too many things to do. The pandemic, they ended up losing a lot of staff. A lot of them didn't get to hire those back. So how can they do more with less? And how can we present that out to the market to make it seem a lot easier for them? And taking advantage, like Connor said, taking advantage of the community data that's out there is just amazing. It's people's conversations. They can't lie in those conversations. They're just what they're talking about. How do you utilize that to create your programs? How do you utilize that to help them take their next step in member journey?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure you're hearing people who are also trying to pull out of you, what are those very next steps? I mean, I'm doing it too, trying to figure out what the very next steps are, and pacing yourself on figuring out what you want to reveal and when, and how much you want to talk about. I imagine that's such a hard thing to do when you're excited about the future and you have this vision. So Rob, how are you basically reining yourself in so that you're not sharing all of it and you're just revealing what you want to at a time?
Yeah, I mean, I think the key in what we're doing, both of them said the right two words, AI and automation. Automation is what we're going after. AI is the tool to get us there, right? There are things that we've wanted to do for 10 years. We even had plans to do some of the stuff that we're just doing today, but it was way more difficult without AI than it is today. So I think the sort of advent, or at least popularization of these generative AI tools has given us the ability to do these kinds of things. And so what we'll do is we'll just introduce automation into all of our tools every month, probably forever. People say, when are you gonna be done? I doubt we'll be done because the stuff changes so quickly. But as we automate tasks away from what the staff has to do, to Mark's point, they have way too much to do. They, of course, then tend to focus on immediate things rather than important things. And so we want to take that away, right? Get the things that could be done by machines out out of their way so that they can do the things that really matter to their
Mhm.
to their industries and so forth. So, to answer your question directly, it'll be released monthly forever, probably. And you'll see it like starting in February. We have our first stuff coming out in February, and it'll just be big chunks of it.
Well, I think with I got a little delay there. I think with messaging, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, good. I think with messaging that I think, we got through this idea that Higher Logic is not just community, it's not just a community platform. So that was the big, there was a big change that everybody had to get used to and like figure out what's the story there. When you're looking at AI and automation and sort of layering it into the offerings that you have for your users, how are you putting community first, like in the sort of historically how you started with Higher Logic, or are you looking at a different direction or going through a different lens? I don't know. Connor, you want to take that one?
I want to take everything, but Rob, I got an issue where I get excited about stuff and then all of a sudden it starts flowing out. Well, think of community as just like this incredibly differentiated data set, right? And then think of the things that enables. We've got marketing automation tools. We've got, Rob, I don't know how much you want to say about any of the partnerships and other things that we've recently engaged with, but there's so many different partners in the ecosystem with so many different pieces of content. If we can help to make it so that all of that content can get leveraged to get people to take action, if we can put people into member journeys and then encourage them using the marketing automation platform to, in an automated fashion, walk through the member journey across a ton of different platforms, be it like CMS, LMS, AMS, using data that we know about them from the community, from the behavioral content inside of all these other platforms. There's so much stuff that we can automate and allow the association members to focus on the strategic things like the member journey. And then we can have the platform walk people through that. And that's how we increase revenue for organizations, like help with advocacy. There's so many awesome things that we can do with the platform that just in the last year have now become realizable. And so that's what I'm excited about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think, it's going to be a collection of our own tools and then partnerships. So Connor mentioned that. We are launching a bunch of new partnerships this quarter that are really deep. They're not just sort of, oh, we're friends and we're going to help each other and we're going to integrate. These are like really sharing data on behalf of the clients and with permission of the clients, but to make better results, right? And so there's sort of the member facing stuff. Community is probably the most member facing in that it has the most interaction with members on a daily basis. But you have careers, you have credentialing, you have learning, you have, in the back end, the AMS data, you've got, all kinds of stuff that informs what we're going to be able to do. And then Connor mentioned marketing automation. We're also thinking of it as communication automation. So not just marketing, which is meant to, sell things sort of, but we're talking about communicating with members to get them to engage, to get them to see what the associations offer, to get them to help mentor, all those sorts of things. Just building that all in and delivering the right message to the right person at the right time, is a key to it. And so the more data we have 2,200 association clients. We do like 1 billion interactions a month of 100 million members that belong to our clients association. So it's just a ton of stuff that we learn. And the more we add in terms of CMS, careers, credentialing, all that, it's just more better decision-making by the machines.
Yeah.
So you start to think.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, you start to think of like the numbers that Rob just said. You could be in marketing or communications at an association and you've got a lot of great ideas, but if we know from the 100 million members and stuff like that, this is the thing that they're responding to the most, we've got a really good test sample there. And so we can go ahead and give you the best possible message. It's going to get you the highest success rate on that call to action that you're able to get out of it. And that way you're more successful overall. And if we automate that, the staff member's not focused on, besides just trying to pull that data together to get a list together, which takes them a long time, or sometimes they can't even do. It's already there in front of them. And you've got AI that's out there that enables them to have a message that's already created for them. They need to fact check it and tweak it to their own needs, but it's just saving a lot of time there that they can actually focus on the things they're never able to get to, that are more fun too, that aren't just the day-to-day mundane task.
Yeah, I think what's exciting for me is that I know with each of you, just because I've known you all for so long and watched what you've done, I know that you've been early and showing people and sort of teaching the industry how to use everything from, online community to figuring out new ways to think about their technology, and sort of you're teaching them along the way while you're developing, whatever offering that you have. And I see that happening here. I see where there are a lot of questions. I'm still talking to people all the time that they haven't even really dipped their toes into things like ChatGPT and generative AI. And they're starting to understand that they need to pay attention to it and haven't really grasped why this is such a headline and will change things forever. Right. And so it's exciting for me to see you coming together and figuring out, what is all of this? How is this going to apply, and how are you going to teach people on how to use it, associations on how to use it as you go along? And I think, go ahead.
I was going to say, very kind comments you made there, but I was just going to say, I think you're spot on with it. And what excited me about this opportunity too is I love educating the market on, hey, here's some new things you should take advantage of. Back when we did community, it wasn't a thing. People didn't know it. And now majority of associations do have one. And how to, we're not perfect by any means. There's been a lot of hiccups along the way, and hopefully some of us getting back to it will correct some of that stuff. But at the same time, it's like, how's that greenfield of this? There was the internet being created, and then there's the AI stuff that's coming. These are maybe two biggest things that a lot of us are going to ever see. And we got to get this market in a place to take advantage of it, so they can be more and more successful. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
I mean, I think it's just absolutely incredible. I'm really excited to see about these next steps and what happens next, because, in watching what happened with some of these developments with community and even like social media and all of this stuff at the beginning of it. And I was working with chapters back in the day for associations. So that's why all of that hit really hard for me. I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to change everything. And it did, but nothing like this. I mean, seeing this now, I'm like, what will it not impact? And everything's going to be different from here on out. And so, it's exciting for me, but also like, I'm like, ooh, ride that wave. And like, what's too soon, and what's, you don't want to hold back too much, but you don't, like get out over your skis type of thing.
But the only way that you're not going to get out, like the only way that that AI isn't going to crash on you like a wave and wipe you off your surfboard is if you start surfing on little waves and then bigger waves and bigger waves and bigger waves, right? The littlest waves, I just suggest that everybody start going out and using all of the public tools. And once you start using the public tools, you get a feel for it. It's like, you wouldn't want to have back in the day gone to an association leadership and say, we need to have an e-commerce platform. They would have been like, what the heck? I don't even know what the internet is. You'd want to encourage them to start browsing the web, understand the things that it does to help your productivity, like how it incorporates in your daily life. Once you figure out all those things, then you're going to start having like realizations that AI isn't this big thing to be afraid of. It's a big thing to help your productivity. And that's the kind of stuff that we want to do. We want to make people more productive. There's all this stuff that like fear mongers out there saying that there's going to be all these jobs that are taken away. I think the only people who are going to lose jobs are people who don't adopt AI, right? And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be helping people through like providing tools that are specific to the vertical that we're in, be successful with AI. You'll be able to do more. You'll be able to focus on more strategic things. The AI is just going to do all the tactical stuff for you, right? And don't be scared of it. Understand what its capabilities are, just like how you should understand what the capabilities of the internet are.
Right.
Capabilities of mobile phone. This stuff changes your life. Start using it.
Yeah, to Connor's point, by the way, so he mentioned, just start using it, right? And what we recommend is you go and use Bing Chat or ChatGPT or something like that. And I've switched to most of my searching now goes to Bing rather than Google because it's got just a great chatbot that gives you answers.
The Bard update to Gemini now is multimodal, so you can ask it to create pictures, video content. You can have audio content. All of it be interstitial. Like it just leapfrogged again. And it's real time index. This stuff's like. Psh.
I'm in this stuff every day. I can't. I mean, I can't imagine. It's changed the way that I approach my work. And there are the fear mongers out there that it can be. I get it. Plagiarism is a concern. People taking things wholesale and not examining it. In my mind, that's the least interesting part of the capabilities. It's like the most boring part to focus on because it's like, okay, well, somebody maybe write, some sort of thesis on dolphins and try to submit it. Well, sure. I mean, I don't care because honestly, the most interesting part is when you're able to input your data and be able to layer that and do so many more things with it. It's just like jumping from the abacus to I've been saying abacus to a calculator, but it's even beyond that. It's just like, and then having an assistant over here that can answer your questions with your data,
Kiki, we've been held back by interfaces for years, right? Yeah. We've now got something that's much more akin to the way the humans operate. They don't want to be sitting there using a mouse. What are you used to as a baby? Whenever I now have my daughter walks around with my phone and has conversations with ChatGPT. The stuff that's up in the background, all this birthday party stuff. She had this fairy birthday party. She had this conversation about a week and a half ago with ChatGPT about if you turn on the audio component, when you watch small children interact with something as revolutionary as a audio natural language interface, you start to realize everything changed.
Oh man,
everything changed, and it adapts. It adapts to her, how she's talking, right? It's non-judgmental. It's
very smart. It's amazing.
Just use it.
We've learned that Connor doesn't have conversations. He gives his phone to his daughter to have conversations with. Kiki doesn't like dolphins.
Right.
You don't want to talk to her about fairies all day long, but
one of the things you were talking about earlier too that Connor brought up and Kiki brought up a little bit, it's one of the things we're really going to bring back here is the partnerships. That's a big part that I feel has fallen off a bit with Higher Logic, and we're going to do a ton with partnerships. That's what I'm spending. This is my first real week, first real day, Kiki. Thank you. But we're going to be doing a lot with partnership and getting them involved because not everybody. We can't be everybody's solution for everything. And there's people that are experts and perfect at certain areas of things. And we need to get those all incorporated into what the association's, ecosystem looks like and what can be successful for them. And how do we help them utilize those in the member facing things versus the back office things that are going to actually make a difference for their membership. Not that 5 staff members are happier because we switched something or whatever. How do we make that better? So that's a big focus is going to be partnerships. It's also the relationships with the clients and making sure we're understanding. Rob's done a fantastic job in the last 6 months or so on talking to a lot of clients. I hear from the outside because I wasn't there for the last 5 years. I was at A2, what their needs are, what they're upset about, what they're unhappy about, and everything as well. So we're bringing that back to it is a lot of listening to the clients and hearing what they really want out of it. And then building solutions that meet those needs.
That's such a great point. I'm sorry to cut you off. But you would have heard things where people were maybe being more open and sharing things that you wouldn't have heard otherwise. So there's like this beautiful bright side to, I mean, not that there wouldn't be, it's all bright, right? But it's like this bonus that comes with it, is that you have the outside perspective of being able to get some real honest insight into, what people liked or didn't like, and where things could grow and change and be and improve. And that's really valuable, to try to get honest, pure feedback like that, that you can then apply.
Yeah, and it's listening. It's listening and caring. Part of what we joked around a little bit last week, it's bringing the love back. It's like, how do we, because I've been in this industry for almost 25 years. I absolutely love this industry. It's my whole career. I work Higher Logic's been around for 15, 16, something years at this point. I originally worked for Rob 22 years ago. So
wow.
Like, we've all known each other for a long time, and we
Rob
really
PTSD because of Mark.
I think Connor, I'll tell you a story about how I met
I'm just
him.
the icing on the cake, right?
You got to be careful though. When you're going too far back, you're aging all of us. So you need to be real careful with that.
I do remember your
don't age.
stuff too. So.
I do age. Thank you.
Yeah,
incredible camera or something.
But yeah, it's just the thing that we're able to do too is we're a little bit more like brothers too. So you get to the end result quicker. Rob's not going to hurt my feelings. I'm not going to hurt his. He already knows things I'm going to say before I say them a lot of times and stuff too. So we just get to the conclusions faster, which helps the industry and helps the client along. It's just versus trying to worry about, people's little bit of the feelings internally about something. We'll just get to the chase and get this stuff done and make the clients happy. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Happy clients, happy staff solves a lot of things.
It sure does. Well, so are you already thinking about ASE annual? I am. I'm like already thinking like, how are you showing up there and what's going to happen? I'm really excited about seeing what you're going to roll out next. And like some of the community, I'm just guessing, I hope that there's going to be some, community education and like a lot of stuff with the industry where it's going to be a chance to see like what kind of, I don't know, sharing that you're going to have with everyone. Because it is part of what we're doing right now. And I say we is like all of us who are figuring out new ways to apply and grow and learn with this technology too. There's an education component where it's like, man, just getting over that piece where people are afraid to just touch it, play with it, do stuff and learn. And so I'm curious, like what do you have planned for that, Rob?
Yeah, we do have, so we did this thing a few months ago, we call AI October. And the gist of it was, I said to everyone in the company, spend 24 hours this month playing with AI. And that could be something as simple as going and using Bing Chat or something, through, designing automated workflows in the finance department or whatever. And so we did this thing, and then we had a contest at the end of October. And the contest was anyone who wanted to could present what they're doing in costume because it was Halloween. And then we sort of watched what everyone came up with. And so it was independent groups of 1 to 5 people all over the company doing these things. We had 31 presentations over about 4 hours. And it was amazing stuff they came up with. But leading up to that, there was a lot of, I actually wanted AI September. But once I pitched it, InfoSec came in and said, yeah, no, we can't do that quickly. And so the kind of stuff that we're doing a webinar, I don't remember the exact date, it's coming up in the next couple of weeks, where we talk about what we did and how we got there. And the majority of the presentation is by the sort of the IT InfoSec team on the prep we did. And the reason I bring up Bing Chat versus Google Bard is we have a version of Bing Chat we pay for, and it guarantees the security of anything we ask, right? So if we ask, it doesn't record that. It doesn't put that anywhere. If we did share data, we don't share client data, but if we did share our own data, we're guaranteed it's not going to get out. So there's different things you need to think about when you get into this. I am definitely like, let's go, get gung-ho about it. But we prepared, right? We spent 6 weeks setting it up, and then we did it for a month, and the results were amazing. And so we're going to share that. Connor and I are both speaking at ASAE's upcoming AI symposium, whatever they're calling it.
Yeah.
Do some more stuff. I've done a few
AI
webinars,
day.
and so there's a lot of stuff we are sharing for exactly the reason you're saying. We want everybody to be raising all the boats in the industry. We want to support the industry where we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's self-serving because we've got some of the best data.
Right. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's also fun. It's just fascinating to like learn and grow along with everybody. I mean, I don't know. I get a little bit Pollyanna-ish about it. I mean, I know it's business, but I'm like you, Mark. I just really love the industry too. And I after all this time in it, you want to see things grow and you want people to succeed, and you want associations to do the good work that they're doing. And so it's like, okay, I know these people and I want us to grow together. So it's very, very exciting. So you touched on why you were focused on certain tools over others, Rob. Can we talk about like what our favorites are for where we spend time personally in developing our skills and looking at things? Because I'm always curious to find where everyone else is what toys they're playing with and like which systems that they're choosing to use.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'll go first. Big Chat is the main one I use on a daily basis. We also, in our software, we've incorporated OpenAI's Azure. So Microsoft gives us an API to it to essentially Bing Chat, but it's not the search part; it's more the generative part. So we use that daily, and the main thing is use the features of your applications that you use every day. They all have these AI tools. So I use the Adobe creative tools, and they do some really cool stuff. And just take advantage of that kind of thing. And that's where our first features will be, by the way. It'll be like, inside Informs helping you compose, a marketing message or start a blog or in the community, things like that, where you kind of ease into, keep a human in the loop kind of thing. As we go further out, you automate more things. So you'll see in the tools you use, they all have these little buttons that makes AI do something kind of thing. In the future, it will just do something, right? So how that all rolls out. I'll do the guys.
And then quick pro tip. You're ever on a webinar, if anybody's ever on Microsoft Teams or Zoom, all of these video tools have voice to text capability. Take that voice to text. If you've been on like a meeting, I don't know about you guys, but every time I'm on a meeting, there's always follow-up items. There's things I promised, that kind of stuff. I don't remember any of it. But you know what it is? It's inside of the text transcript. Take that text transcript and then ask either whatever tool your organization has greenlit, and Rob just gave the marketing for how you can get your organization to greenlight. So attend that webinar. But once your organization has greenlit a couple tools out there, then start using those to say what are the action items, what are my follow-ups, and you're just going to save massive amounts of time. And that's like an easy thing in a corporate setting to try out and be like, whoa, mind blown.
That is an amazing one, Kiki, for just sales in general. We're never going to remember every single thing that was talked about, and it gives the key items. There's the software now that understands people's spike in voices and everything that's going on, so you can focus on what you needed to get back to right away. And it's just fast, it's organized, it's just much easier. And you can also tell when there's bad calls and there's, what not to focus on as well. So, these guys push me into using this stuff more than I probably go into it myself, I would say.
All right, Grandpa, get off my lawn.
Are you going to take that, Mark?
Let me get my phone open here.
Luckily, he has the young employees who will push him too.
The next press release is going to be about how Mark left because he was like, no.
Rob's not joking about the research that Higher Logic's done to it. I had to spend 4.5 hours yesterday on all the security stuff that I had to go through and learn, and the training and take tests, and I passed.
I'll
Yay!
have your laptop on now. That's good.
I did. I was great. Connor got it more wrong than I did. One of the things I think you asked about ASA leading up to it, it's like,
Yeah.
so it's something we're going to be doing because we are talking a lot about partnerships and stuff too. And it's the partnerships are important in the people that we've known forever, that type of thing. But at the same time, they do offer items and solutions and stuff that an association would need. So we're going to break those down month by month, and we're going to focus on certain ones one month, another month, another month. And we have multiple partners for a lot of things and stuff as well, leading up to ASAE. And then we get to go see everybody. And that's like my favorite event ever because they're just my friends and stuff. But then we jump into that, and then we'll have the bigger success crew and all the other things that go along with ASAE and the fun that comes to celebrating it and kind of getting to see a lot of people face to face that have maybe attended webinars, been on association chat and all that, but getting to see them face to face and having the fun part at the conference.
Yeah, I have
we'll have a big presence, we'll say.
I bet you will. I'm so excited. I mean, I remember I remember a lot, but I remember this last year, just seeing Rob over at the Higher Logic booth, and like I stopped and I talked with you there, and it was just there's so much that's changed even since then. I mean, I started, now I'm working with Big Red M after over a decade of really working for myself, and so there's been a lot of change, but it's all good, and I can't wait I'm already excited to see everyone in person and just to be able to share and catch up and find out, like, what are you doing and what's happening next. I don't see how things stay the same. There's just so much change around us that it changes the calculus for everybody, right? It changes like your own personal math on how you're living and doing your work that you do and interacting with people. And so it's an interesting time.
I agree. I think this is going to be the biggest change year we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Rob's voice is even changing.
Yeah, my voice is going away. Yeah.
Your voice is I know it's
my 6 minute a day.
Yeah. I think that last year the big topic was AI, but it was just kind of like, wow, generative AI. Oh my gosh. Cool. Big change, and now I think there's some stuff that's happening, and we're able to like actually see some things that are coming together. There's some stories, there's some case studies to start sharing. There's some new things being built. These partnerships that you're talking about, like, that's wildly exciting. So it's going to be a good time for association chat. There's a lot of news, I think, that's going to be happening this year. So it'll be good.
You just have to reserve us a room. We'll
I know. You're going to have to make sure you keep me posted. If I keep getting like the texts and the messages about this stuff, I don't know. We got to talk about it. So, okay. So, go ahead.
I was going to say, sometimes it's hard to announce in advance.
Yeah, that's true. How fast was I on the ball? I was pretty fast.
You were awesome. Like I said, we had a sales kickoff last week, but that was kind of me forcing to get to that. This is really first day type of thing. So you're on point.
Man, thank you. I'm paying attention. That's all. So okay. So, I really wanted to come together so that we could get the backstory. I could get some insight onto how you all came together, what your vision was for the future. I'm going to ask you one last question. And it's really, what's got you the most excited for the year ahead? Like, what do you think when you're thinking, all right, 2024, let's go? Like, what is it that has you the most excited right now?
For me, it is all the stuff we've been talking about. I mean, just being able to make our clients successful at a rate that's much faster than we could have before. The partnerships Mark mentions, we're doing these not just to partner, but because we can enhance each other's products. And so we're going to have a lot of 1 + 1 = 3 with each of these partners. When you have 1 + 9, it's going to just be a massive amount of increase in success. I mean, that's what we're going for. We have a thing that's like, our clients' success is the most important thing, and so that affects all areas of the company. And yeah, it's going to be a good, fast, fun year, I think.
All right. Go to you, Connor.
I'm a tinkerer, and I get really annoyed when I don't finish things. And I felt like there were a lot of things that I just wasn't able to ever finish because projects got too big. There was a lot of the original vision behind the community and the marketing automation platforms coming together, but it wasn't possible at the time to automate some of the stuff that we had talked about. Now it is. And I've been tinkering with all these tools, and I've been seeing the rate at which like generative AI enables like capabilities that I was like, oh my God, if I had this, right? And so Rob and I have been working together on, and I just kept on showing him these like little like things where I was like, okay, we plug this and then this and then this together, and we would have been able to do that. Like, I don't know how many people out there on the call were at Higher Logic Superforum when Rob talked about the easy button. The vision has always been the same.
Yeah.
We just couldn't capitalize on it because the technology wasn't there yet. So 2024, the reason why I'm most excited is that like now the technology's there, right? And I know what the bits and pieces are that we need to plug in to help to enable the vision that Rob's always been like out there talking about. So, consistent finishing off things. That's what I'm excited about.
Yay.
And knowing what the market needs has never been the problem. It's these guys actually finishing what they start out to know. But just having the right kind of spot on. Like the stuff that I've watched these two build in the last 6 months to a year at their respective organizations has been amazing, and stuff that I haven't seen happen in a 8-year span type of thing. So I'm excited for that, because that is going to make it to where we can actually deliver on a lot of things that we talk to clients about and we want to deliver, and we kind of get to, but we can't get all the way to success. That's going to happen now. And so I'm most excited about happy clients. I'm most excited about working with these guys again and the team again. It's going to be fun. It's going to go really fast. It's going to have to, but it's going to go really fast, and it's going to be exciting. And I hope everybody joins us for the ride.
Yeah. Jim made the comment, it's good to see the dream team back together. And I love that, Yeah. I mean, it is exciting, because I think it's not to say that, Higher Logic wasn't great already and all of that stuff, that you don't have amazing people, but this idea that you all who have worked together for so long already, and you know each other so well, that you're able to come back. I don't know. I always look back kind of like you, Connor, where I'm saying I'm very aware of the things, the ideas that I've had, or the things that have gotten started, that my brain still continues to think about ways to improve and ways to retool and change and improve. Right. And so the beauty of being able to have this chance to go back with a client base that you understand so well, and to understand the culture and stuff so well, and to be able to step back in and say, oh, okay, like throw me the ball and I'll run with it. Like I'm ready to go. That's really exciting. So I think that is, I think when people are saying the dream team back together, that's what people are seeing and feeling, or at least that's how I'm seeing it. So yeah, that's very, very exciting.
Can I give you a hug?
Everybody a hug.
So anyway, I did think, I knew it was like the last question, but let's just pretend like that was I lied. Like that was the penultimate question. Because something you said, Connor, you were talking about community, and then Mark, you were talking about, well, we know these people, like we know them, we know what their needs are. Have you seen change in things like community and member engagement over the years with associations, even though you know them? Like, have you seen things change to the point where you think, okay, have the needs changed at all? Have there been new pressures or stresses that has the association industry changed, where you think, okay, now I think that we can apply some new tools or new answers in a way that we didn't before, because those things have changed?
Yeah, I think Mark said it earlier, the idea that they have to do more with less, our
Mm.
client, right?
Mhm.
Because of the pandemic and the economy and all these sort of changes that have been happening in that regard. Technology is more and more important, right? To offload some of your work onto. And so that's the biggest change I see. I mean, I've been looking at our data since from before I left until now, and there's definitely a lot more engagement in the communities than there was before, in terms of as a percent of membership and things like that. So you're seeing even the members get more out of their peers, right? For the same reasons, I'm sure. They have more with less as well, and so it's just the nature of the way the world works today. But the good news is, sort of technology has come along at the right time, to help alleviate some of those problems by offloading the work that can be done to the computers to do it. So, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah,
I think it's amazing to watch it change. Like when we first started doing this, it was like nobody even knew what it was. And it was like, I got this old listserv. It's terrible looking. Nobody likes it. Our members like to talk to each other. Some of them do. And you think generationally now, like has different every generation hates one after them and all, whatever. That's the time. But so basically you're watching that and you're watching the journey of where this became a household type thing, where Rob said there's 2,200 associations using. That's a vast majority. There's no other package out there that has that type of penetration into a market. So there's that many using it. And then you start to see, and then the pandemic happened. When you remember when it first, we couldn't do what we're doing right now when it first started. You didn't have even Zoom backgrounds or anything like that. So a lot of people running associations didn't really understand the technology very well, and they didn't embrace it, but then they were forced to. So the pandemic had, a lot of terrible outcomes, but had some good outcomes. One of it made it easier for people to communicate and just expect it. We're all in 4 different locations right now having a great conversation. And so I think that forced it to where now it's like you just understand that this is where this is going to happen. I'm going to have committee meetings here. Guess what? When you turn over on a committee or a volunteer position, because you have a community, all that information and projects they're working on is still there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just all that is, before it's like, okay, where's my notebook and let's debrief them and then let's get them started the next committee chair on this type of thing. So I think it's just an expectation now, which is a good thing. But that's a pressure on these two more than me, but pressure on them is that you got to deliver cooler stuff then. You can't just like a lot of people have it now. We got to deliver more to that they more to what they already have. So.
Yeah, I mean, to Mark's point, expectation in the broader market around personalization has just gone through the roof, right? Every single digital product that you interact with knows so much about you and gives you such a personalized experience that if associations don't provide like similar personalized experiences, their members are going to look at them and be like, what? You don't know me? You don't understand me? And so it's it's a big weight, right? Because you've got all of these tools from like Netflix and Amazon and Google and Microsoft, all of these products that people interact with know so much about you and then provide such a personalized experience that if as an association you don't provide a similar set of capabilities, people are going to be asking like, if they don't know enough about me, do they care about me? Right?
Reggie tells a great story.
Such a good point.
Connor, I got a question for you. What does Netflix, Amazon, and an association have in common? They're all memberships.
Yeah.
You have to. That is an expectation of a consumer out there. That's what they're. You can use that as an example anywhere because somebody's either a member of Netflix or Amazon.
It's you're making me think of something though right now with this idea on reporting back. My expectation on how well you know me as a company. I think that intuitively, whether somebody considers themselves particularly technologically savvy or not, we're getting used to it. It started out with like the Spotify Wrapped and that type of stuff, where at the end of the year, it's like, this is what you listen to the most. This is what you love. You're like this percentage of people around you. This is, what this song you listen to more than anything else. Then I got one this year from Starbucks, from it's like It's what I watch. It's what I order at Starbucks. It's like, I mean, and what is that telling me? I'm coming to expect that, if I go to the Starbucks app, they have my favorite things that I order on a high rotation. By the way, egg bites, you guys, if you want to know, I really think that they're great, high protein, low carb. Anyway, it's like they know what I'm going to order, and it's right there at the top. It's super easy to access, and it's that simple. No matter where I am in the world, I can order from that Starbucks. It's right there. So why wouldn't my association, where you have a membership, where a lot of times a person will be a member for years and years, you better know who I am, right? I mean, you better know what I like to pay attention to. You better know what courses I buy. You better know what meetings I register for, because I'm going to begin. I know that you have access to that data. So that idea of trusting that you are competent enough to give me that information back, that's a trust issue. And that's, I think, something that, like I said, whether somebody considers themselves very tech savvy or not, your expectation on how a company or an organization knows you is changing based on your day-to-day behavior.
Yeah, so the funny thing is, we do know all that, right? And always have. And by we, I mean the associations, the other software companies that provide it. But AI allows us to really use it, right? So just a simple example, I know everything you've ever looked at on, whatever association's website. But what does that tell me? Yeah, I know what event you went to. I know what you bought. But we can go and ask the AI, what do these things have in common? And it'll tell us. And we'll say, what else does you want? And it will tell us that, right? So just knowing you went to ASA Annual last year, it's a good idea, a good indicator you're going to come in again this year. But what else might you be interested in?
Right.
Articles or posts or whatever could we share with you? Career paths, job offers, things like that.
Yeah. And all that time they have, when we look at things like beacon technology and stuff, which I feel like it was smart to include that sort of thing in events, but were we using it the way that we should? Were we then taking that data and doing anything other than saying, this person, had this journey throughout the experience, or they checked in, they were actually in this room. How did we apply that to the overall experience of that attendee, right? And what they were experiencing as they went? Were they a joiner? Did they go to heavily populated areas? I mean, how are we using this information? And there's so much that we can do with it that we haven't. But I think layering that information in and then saying, hey, what are we noticing here when we're putting this user through? This is the data on how they experience this event.
It was too much for them to take on. Okay, you think of the events, like the events and stuff, the surveys. It's like, okay, we put out this big survey to everybody after the event, and I feel like some of it's just to let us know, make ourselves feel good that we did a good job, because people are gonna have kudos in there and stuff. Versus that never gets used really to help plan the next one. Very much, it's to an extent it does. We heard from these 3 members that said this, versus all this other data that's out there, and having a system that allows you to go through massive quantities of that and come out with outcomes that would be helpful. And then the people can do whatever they need with it. Then the people come in and do the work. But processing all that, we can't do it. So.
It's kind of interesting in the data world. There's what people report and say they're going to do, and then there's what they actually do.
Right.
Two fundamentally very different things. And so that's the danger with surveys. But if you've got all of that behavioral information and you can couple it with the self-reported and the feedback stuff, that's when you start to have really interesting unlocks. Because as Rob said, you start to be able to group and classify. And if you can group and classify, and you can say, traditionally associations looked at their membership and they created things like member types, for instance, to be able to say this member type will probably like to engage with this kind of content. They'll probably be interested in these kind of job offerings. But if we start, instead of just looking at things from a member type perspective, and we can look at things from the behavioral perspective, these people are similar. Now, all of a sudden, if a bunch of people start registering for an event via the marketing automation platform, we can say, well, You should probably, if you want to increase like event attendance, you should probably market to the rest of the group that all look similar. Just things like that could make it so that people felt heard, right? Like these are the things that I'm interested in that are now showing up in my inbox related to a potential attendance at like our association's annual event. These people get me. They know what I'm looking for, and it will increase engagement and all the things that we've always talked about related to being an engagement company, right?
Yeah. I mean, I see the work that like Megan Henschel, who's been on the chat, she's doing all this work with neurodivergent learners and also with this idea of belonging with events. This research is going into it. And there's a number of people who are working on it. I know David Allison with Value Graphics is involved in that. Imagine, you discover how somebody like talking about segmenting your association members, finding out how they feel that they belong, when they feel the type of things that make them feel like they belong, and then layering that into some of the other types of data you have about them, the things they like to attend. You can then truly, I mean, the word customize, it's like you can then make something where they feel safe, where they feel involved, and you can create something that's a lot more valuable to that particular member and group of members in a way that you couldn't before, or at least was very difficult to do before. And so it empowers us to be so much better than how we've been in the past.
Yeah, win-win, right? Like that's you kill it if you can do that.
Yeah, right. I mean, so it's just a matter of like, connecting those pieces and thinking about like, what kind of data do I need to be able to layer, and what kind of questions do I need to ask? Because I also think that it's in, not just collecting data for data's sake, like everybody says, but it's like, what kind of questions do I really need to answer so that I can get the data I need, and then have these things inform each other so that ultimately that experience is more valuable. Oh my gosh. I thought I was going to let you go before, but then we got off on this and it was not so worth it. This is the part that I love. Okay. So thank you so much. I know. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you taking the time. I mean, I just jumped right on this and, poor Mark, you didn't even have it. Connor, Mark, you're just like, you're in it. But yeah, I'm very thankful that you took the time to talk with us today, that we could get some insight. Rob, thank you as always. And I look forward to seeing you out and about and in the industry, in DC, at ASA Annual, all the places. Oh my gosh. Hey, Rob Barnes, great chat. Yeah, no kidding. Yes. So I will see you out there, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. See you soon.
All right. See ya. Okay. So what did you think? It was absolutely phenomenal, right? Getting a chance to hear the real deal, like what's really behind pulling these people together again, and what can we expect to see from Higher Logic moving into the future. I don't know about you, but I think between now and when we all get together at ASA Annual, there's going to be an incredible amount of things that will happen. So super excited about it. I want to remind everybody that if you want to join the new Association Chat Facebook group, the old one is no longer going to be updated. It's only the new one. Okay. So you're going to need to go to the new one if you want to get up-to-date information about what's happening, if you want to submit your anonymous questions and have them answered by the community. And then if you want to also participate in the weekly, every Friday, we're going to have a weekly chat that everybody can come and just do a recap of the week, what we just go through as a community. We're going to talk about it. So join the Facebook group. If Facebook's not your thing, go to the LinkedIn group. We're over there too. And until next time, everybody, keep asking questions to learn every day. Because as Joseph Campbell once said, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Have a great rest of the week, everyone.